where we could like celebrate movies, connect with people, and there was no such a place. I didn't have a PR team. I didn't have money to pay $10,000 or $6,000, whatever they charge, to get me to places where I could connect and network. So we launched the Latinx House in Sundance 2020. I'm very proud that now there's filmmakers like Christopher and Rocío and all the filmmakers. There's around 24 movies with Latinx creators attached, that they have a space like this. So please enjoy it. Come check out our schedule. We're going to be here all day today and tomorrow. And I'm so proud to welcome this panel. This is a movie that is in world competition, and the director and screenwriter Christopher Murray was born in Santiago, Chile, and he's here with us. He's also a writer known for films including The Blind Christ, Manuel de Rivera, and of course Sorcery, which is premiering I think tomorrow morning. So please go and take and vote, because you need to vote. And the producer Rocío Jadue runs fabulous Spanish-speaking film department. She's known for producing A Fantastic Woman, which who doesn't love? I mean, what an incredible movie. Thank you for doing that. Winner of 2018 Best Foreign Language Film Academy Award. Such a badass. And among work on many other films, she executive produced No, another incredible film nominated for an Academy Award. Thank you for being here and making space on your busy schedule. And actor Valentina Véliz. Valentina is just 20 years old and already a star. She's an actress, singer, and a dancer from Lanquije, Chile. ¿Lo dije bien?
Yanquiwe.
Es que me lo pusieron en inglés, estoy de la traducción, ¿no? Yanquiwe. Sí, no, Yanquiwe, porque yo no sé por qué me pusieron. Hablo español, chicos. Yanquiwe. She's currently studying chemical engineering in Valparaiso. Since she was a child, she was participating in various artistic groups, including theater, contemporary dance, and singing. She plays the guitar, Venezuelan cuatro, and other instruments. At the age of just 15, she won second place in the Festival de la Garza in the commune of Mejia. Sorcery is her first feature film and should not be her last. Gracias por estar aquí y por favor bienvenidos. Y la presentación más importante. I created a program that is called Adelante Directors Fellowship with Netflix, Sundance Institute, and Shondaland, and Nicole Mejia, who's going to be moderating this. She's an incredible writer, director, actress. She was our first fellow of the program. She got to shadow Grey's Anatomy and with Shondaland. It was great. Thank you so much for being here. Gracias por el espacio y por decir que sí cuando les dije que tenían que venir. Gracias.
Gracias, Olga. Okay, bueno, since Olga made all the introductions, we're going to skip that whole part because Rocío is so busy, and Rocío has another film that's premiering called The Eternal Memory. It's a documentary, so she has to skip out early. So that was a beautiful introduction, and we'll just chat now. ¿Está bien? Okay, perfect. So, Sorcery, I watched the film. Beautiful, beautiful job. Todos, increíble, like at the highest level of filmmaking. And it's about in Chile in the 1880s. So the first question I wanted to ask Rocío and Christopher is what drew you to the story, and if you could tell us a little bit more about the historical events, and kind of for you about how you integrated the magic. Was it mythology that you integrated into the story, or did it really happen this way?
Well, yes, thank you very much. First to the Latin House, to everyone here, really a pleasure to share with you. And yeah, this is a film that is inspired in this historical event that happened in the 19th century, in 1880, that basically was a persecution of the Chilean state against an organization of sorcery of indigenous people there. In a way, uses sorcery as a way of resistance. So there was a trial, kind of a silent trial, in the south of Chile, in this remote island called Chiloé, and there is all the real documents of the trial. And for me, that was kind of an inspiration to talk about colonization through this kind of particular historical case, but through the eyes of Rosa, interpreted by Valentina, to understand how this colonization process not only affect politically, territorially, but also like in kind of the emotions and affects of a little girl in that period. That was basically my inspiration to take this story.
Well, for us, the producers, this film is produced by Fabula, of course, but in the company is founded by Juan de Dios and Pablo Larraín. I've been working with them for 10 years now. So what we try to find are stories that can be very local, like this one, but at the same time that everyone in every country, I think, can resonate on the story, the political aspects, also what's happening, the roots of each one of the countries, and how by history these roots change, sometimes gets appropriation from other cultures, and how they mix and what happens last. So the story that Christopher told us 7 years ago, 6 years ago, that was what really caught our eye, and we were really happy to be in this journey with him.
That's great. Do you feel, Rocío, I don't sadly know much about what's going on in Chile, but do you feel that there's a resonance between what happened in the 1880s and anything that's happening now in Chile, or even in the world today, I would say?
Yes, I think that's the amazing thing, that we are not proud of that, but it still happens. So everybody wants to get to erase maybe the roots and the culture and what really happened in that land, and make it another thing that sometimes we do not agree or we don't like.
Te voy a hacer una pregunta más, Rocío, porque sé que te tienes que ir. Esta película, this movie, sorry, does anyone here not speak English in the audience too, or no? Okay, good. Okay, so this film, I'm a filmmaker as well, so I could see how difficult it could be to make, with the weather, the emotional circumstances, the props that are so important, the ocean being its own character, like the sea and the river. As a producer, how did you approach supporting Christopher in making this film?
Well, it was really complex because we had to shoot outside of Santiago. That's always tricky regarding budget, to fly all the team. Also, we had to find this extremely beautiful and talented girl that in the story was 14 years old. But we found Valentina. We didn't, the casting director did. But it was every piece of the script was really, really tricky. We pulled it off with a lot of cold, with a lot of rain. And I think that most important was, I will say it in Spanish, la apropiación cultural, because we were people speaking about a culture that we love, we know, but we are not part of.
So she just said cultural appropriation.
So for that, we also had to make a space for the culture, for people that belong in Chiloé, that lived in Chiloé, that know about sorcery, to be part of the production as well. So they worked with us, with Christopher, in the investigation process, in the shooting, in the post-production, in the cast, and we tried to, I think we pulled it all off.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything looks authentic and it's so specific, the details. I don't know how you worked with your production designer, you know, I could imagine that. I could tell that it just has como la esencia de ese lugar. Valentina, bello trabajo. De nada, es tu primer película, wow, increíble, chica, vas a ser superstar. Bueno, con lo que dijo Rocío, ¿cómo trabajaste tú con los locales? ¿Aprendiste algo de ellos o que te sirviera para tu proceso en el papel?
Sí, de hecho algo que me gustó mucho como de la película en sí es que Rosa se adentra como a este mundo de sus raíces, conocer su mundo indígena, y fue algo en paralelo que yo viví con mi vida como yo, Valentina, porque yo también soy indígena, pero igual criada súper fuera de mi raíz, ¿entiendes? Entonces, gracias Rocío. Entonces el mapudungún que aprendí, todo fue, la atmósfera entera me llenó a mí como Valentina y a la vez también a Rosa como personaje.
So she said that, you know, she's obviously an Indigenous woman, but she didn't grow up in where they filmed, where it's like they're very connected to their roots, to the land. And so I asked her how she was influenced by where they shot and by the people that were there. And she said that it was a big help, and that it helped fill her. It helped fill her, and the energy of the space really filled her to be able to portray that role. Bueno, te quería hacer otra pregunta. A ver. ¿Cómo supiste que era tu estrella? What was the casting process like?
Yeah, well, it was a really nice and beautiful process because, in a way, I understand cinema really connected to the places where the films are made. I think usually films are could be sometimes violent in terms of going to a place, make a film, go out. I think filmmaking has something about ethical approach also to story, to narratives. And of course, when it has to be with local people and stories. My grandmother was from Chiloé. She's not indigenous, but is from the island. So in a way, for me, it was a way to connect to that place and also to research. We were researching for 4 years, kind of an ethnographic approach, all in terms of making field work, the collecting story experiences. And part of that process, of course, was to find the main actress, Rosa, that was fundamental because basically is the one that takes the whole story in her back. So we made a huge local casting in all the towns and villages there. And after, I think, 3 months and looking for people, finally we came across Valentina, and she was studying something completely different, but she had an energy and I don't know, something completely magical and magnetic that I think would be so appropriate for the character of Rosa and its journey.
Yeah, she was very, you could feel everything that she's feeling, but she's able to hold it in, and that's really difficult. Those are the best, to me, the best actors. ¿Entiendes inglés? Un poco, okay. Y bueno, how did you guys work together? Like, ¿cómo fue tu proceso con el director? ¿Fue tu primera película? ¿Cómo trabajaron juntos?
Igual se grabó en temporada de pandemia, entonces comenzamos como con reuniones como online, pero algo que me brindó el Christopher siempre fue la confianza y una comunicación excelente. Entonces igual me di cuenta cuando comentamos el guión, conectábamos mucho, íbamos a las mismas ideas y no, genial, siempre me dio un brazo, su mano, todo para que yo entre en confianza y pueda tener igual mi primera experiencia audiovisual muy buena.
Yeah, this was her first film, so I asked how they developed the relationship, and it was during the pandemic, so they did a lot of Zoom meetings and built their relationship so that they could build trust, that she was able to go out and be free. I think there was a lot of freedom in her performance. Yeah. And Christopher, I'm really curious about, and I don't want to give it away, so I'm trying to, how did you come up with the magical elements of the film? Like, how is that from the research, or was that your imagination? How much of it?
Well, basically, this island called Chiloé has this particular kind of syncretic culture that have, of course, the indigenous Huiche topic mixed with certain practice from outside. So the idea of sorcery is something about the identity of that culture. But usually sorcery, is such a tricky word. That's why the film is I don't know if it was a good idea. but the film is called Sorcery because usually through history the idea of sorcery has been used with a lot in an aggressive way for exoticizing certain practice, certain medicine approach to life, in a pejorative, I don't know if that word exists, pejorative meaning. So in a way it was interesting for us to take this word and put it in a more kind of sorcery as a way of resistance, of empowerment, of self-discovering, of transformation, and of course of building new kinds of relationships. I think that's sorcery about. It's about another way of connecting or relate with human and non-humans, and that's part of the power of that place.
That it's used for healing. Like you used it for healing, and they wanted to deny.
Yeah, for sure. It's healing, but also about justice. There's an element of justice that's really powered. It's like a kind of a court or a tribunal, but through this kind of logic. So for me, that was fascinating. But also, I think it was fascinating in a first level because of the practice and what happens there and the mythology, but also because of the political approach you can have to that word. And I think for me that was really important to get into this political idea of sorcery as resistance, and insist not only as a political exterior force, but also in terms of affects, emotions. It's also a process of the colonial process of sorceries has that goal also in that area. So I don't know, that was interesting for me.
Yeah. And how about the water? Like, I think for both of you, el agua fue como su propio character, So, ¿cómo te entregaste, integrated? How do you say that in Spanish? Entregaste tú al agua y sentí como que te convertiste en agua. I don't know, what can you tell us about the water and the process of you working with water, and also for you? Because also, I just want to say something that I noticed, that your score, which I want to talk to you about, kind of changed a little bit. There was like a double entendre in the score when she first hit the water, and that was really beautiful. I'm sure it's important.
Sí, el agua es un personaje también dentro de la película y claro, como Huilliche, somos seres de agua y yo soy sureña en el sur de Chile, entonces igual llueve mucho, amo el agua, amo la lluvia, entonces fui súper parte del agua, nos complementamos juntas y...
Déjame decir eso. So she's from the south of Chile. When you go watch the film, you'll see that water has a huge part in the film, and she's saying that where she's from, it rains a lot, so she always feels just at one with the water. And when you see the performance, I think that makes sense, because I was like, how is this happening?
Sí, mucha lluvia, pero igual fui acostumbrada, a lo que no estaba acostumbrada es al mar. Las olas grandes, el nadar, yo no sé nadar. Entonces igual fue un tremendísimo desafío, pero maravilloso.
Oh, wow. She said that she doesn't know how to swim and she's not used to the ocean, and the ocean plays a huge role in it as well. So, como no sabes nada, ¿cómo hicieron para ayudarte a entrar al mar?
Había gente que sabía nadar, el camarógrafo sabía nadar, salvavidas, buzo. Entonces yo me sentía súper cuidada y de alguna manera, no sé, igual estaba súper entregada, quería darlo todo. Entonces solo caminaba al agua y dije, "Ay, no me va a pasar nada, es parte de..."
Okay. She's really brave. She just trusted. I think that's a testament to your team, your producer, to the director, that she just trusted that she wasn't going to drown, and she walked into the ocean and was like, "All right, I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to be here, and someone's going to rescue me if anything happens."
And what's the last scene that we shot?
The last scene?
Yeah.
Oh, it was the last. So she didn't die before. Like, I don't want this. Like, I'm gonna make the movie, keep the movie going. Oh no.
Yeah, no, but Valentina was incredible in terms of that bravery and yes, not only the sea, but also like waterfalls but there's something of the south of Chile, and as she said, of course, usually when you make a film in this kind of landscape, it's more like kind of, I don't know, spectacular, overwhelming. But for us, more the kind of landscape in a more kind of, just because it's beautiful, it was the idea of making it, of course, a living character, an actant that could dialogue with our main protagonist. So yeah, it was tough, but it was the essence of the film. You know, it's also kind of a thriller about nature. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about working with your composer and how you came up with the score and how it starts to change throughout the film?
Yeah, well, the film, it's a co-production between Germany and Mexico and Chile, and there's a lot of talent from Mexico, Mexican talent, and that was amazing. The editor, Paloma, and sound design, Sergio, and also like the DOP, that it's a great Uruguayan Mexican DOP, and the score is made with I made it with Leo Heiblum, that it's a really well-known composer from Mexico, and I decided to work with him because he's really into experimenting with sounds more than just like the melody or composing in a more traditional way. He's more into atmospheres, and I think for a film like this, well, sometimes you listen to the sea, you listen to the wind, and there's something like some frequencies, natural frequencies. How to mix that with synthesizers and strings, and I don't know. There was a spirit of experimenting and to make it organic. I think that was important also, and to have an evolution. Of course, there's something about the evolution of the character. It's a lot of it becomes more and more complex through the story. But mainly was about that, experimenting with the local kind of sounds that things have there and mixing that with music, so to make something that sounds like a whole, organic whole, more than just something, a score that you put there and makes it happen.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like that. It's very integrated into the nature, and it was very powerful, especially that moment. It was my favorite. Y quería preguntarte, ¿cómo te identificaste con el papel de Rosa cuando yo tenía 13 años?
Ya, ok. Sí, igual, bueno, cuando leí el guión, conecté con ella en el sentido de crecer externa a lo que era su cultura, porque incluso ella le reza a un dios católico impuesto por la colonización, claro, y es algo que yo también hago. Entonces, cuando empieza Rosa a vivir esta historia, este mundo, se empieza a encontrar que el ser indígena le brinda respeto a la Ñuque Mapu, que es la madre tierra, y claro, ella se vuelve parte de la tierra, que fue lo que me pasó a mí también, y me llevó también a mí como Valentina querer adentrarme a lo que es mi raíz indígena. Entonces de esa manera pude conectar con ella y también aprendí mucho de ella, porque yo soy como muy carismática, risueña, blandita, pero ella tiene una conversión en donde se vuelve consciente de su valentía y firme, muy valiente, firme, y logra expresar una ira, una rabia, queriendo justicia, claro. Y yo no tengo rabia, no tengo ira, me cuesta mucho enojarme. Entonces pude aprender también de qué manera sintetizar quizás ese tipo de emociones gracias a ella.
Wow. Okay, so I asked how she identified with the character when she was 13. She said first off, Rosa, the character, the protagonist, basically is Catholic at the beginning of the film. So she prays to a Catholic God that was put to us by the colonizers.
It's not funny.
And she says she has the same experience in her personal life, and she wasn't even aware that she was praying to a God that was put upon her by colonizers, you know. So when she was working through the story, she was able to connect more with, ¿cómo es el término que dijiste? De la Madre Earth?
Ñuque Mapu.
Yukimamu?
Ñuque Mapu.
Yuki Mamu,
Sí.
which is
Mamu.
Mother Earth. So she was able to connect with the earth, which is what her roots are from. And then she also said that in life she's more joyful. She doesn't know she hasn't, thankfully, been angry. Maybe you'll get angry soon, one day soon. But in her character is very, she goes from being very passive to like taking over and owning her anger and using it to create change in the community. And so she, in her personal life, hasn't had that, and so she was like, it taught me a lot about how to go into those places that she's never been before. Yeah. Bueno, la última pregunta que te tengo es que quieres, what would you like for the audience to take away, or what? I mean, I never like telling. I always am like, you take away what I want to take away, but like, is there anything that you want to tell the audience, or something that a message or anything that you want to say?
Well, basically, first to thank so the festival, the people are gonna see that it's playing tomorrow, and there are other screenings available, and you know, when you make a film, basically the main goal, for me at least, is like kind of the interaction or interchange of experiences. And that's for me like filmmaking, about connecting with territories, also connecting with talent, also connecting with the audience in terms of speaking. And I think the film invites people to submerge in a specific world that is really intriguing, it's really mystery, it's really ambiguous in a way that I love. That is Chiloé Island. I think there's no place like this in the world, and it's so powerful. And but in a way also it's so particular, but it resonates in a lot of things that I think as Latin Americans, that's the first thing. When we worked with Mexico, there was such coincidence, of course, in terms of the history of colonization in Latin America, but you can understand that that's happening still, you know, and I think that's an important way. Sometimes we think it's something that is part of the past, but of course it's happening right now. It's part of the political discussion, it's part of the constitutional discussion we're having in Chile, it's part of the law, I don't know, it's part of something really kind of concrete. And I think cinema, it's so important to think about this concrete political action you can have through myth, or through narratives, or through the magnetism of a film. So, I don't know, to invite you to go there and to talk and to reflect, and I hope that we can see around and talk about it. That's the idea.
¿Y quieres decir algo sobre eso?
Que no se la pierdan, porque además no se la pierdan porque
Tómese.
además de encontrar un comienzo con una colonización violenta y que exista un hambre de justicia también, se van a sumergir en mucha tensión y mucho suspenso, que está en el inicio y sigue a lo largo de la historia hasta el final. Y es una tensión y es un suspenso que van a ser solo justificados y entendidos a medida que ustedes también se adentren con la historia de Rosa, con ella, a su tiempo, a un camino de esperanza, que es la brujería.
She said don't miss it because it's a movie filled with suspense and tension, and if you're willing to immerse yourself into the role of Rosa and understand the position that she was in that time, you will come out with a lot of hope. And ¿qué fue lo último? Esperanza y
Su camino de esperanza es la brujería.
Her path to hope and to sorcery. Duh. the film's title.
Perfect.
Me siento como Selena cuando estaba haciendo el palo. Well, muchas gracias.
Thank you.
I wish you guys so much success, so much, and when it hits your country, I'm just so excited for everyone to see it, and the conversations that will start. So, thank you.
No, thank you. I'm going to say
Thank you.
bye.